Daf Yomi Tractate Bava Batra, page 154b, top of the page. With the words Bishlom Lididi. Damina Raibedim Kevan Damar Lelakoichois Asiadim Below Shakahain in the cause of Amrele Maulaboitkoi. Rabbi Yochanan explains, granted, according to my explanation of the Mishnah, that I say that the proof must be presented by bringing witness, I can explain the right. Since Rabbi Akiva said to the buyers, bring witnesses, and they did not bring witnesses, this is the reason that they came and said to him, what is halacha? Is it permitted to examine him? But according to you, that you say that the proof is presented by ratification of the deed, why do they need to examine him? Let them ratify their deed, and they shall be established as owners of the property. Because Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish replies, do you maintain that the property stood in the possession of the members of his family, and the buyers came and contested the possession of the property? Rather, the property stood in the possession of the buyers, and the members of his family came and contested the sale, since they claimed that the deed was invalid. They could not prove their claim by ratifying the deed, but only by bringing witnesses or examining the body. This too stands to reason, Rabbi Akiva said to the claimants, you are not permitted to disgrace them, and they were silent. Granted, if you say that the members of his family were contesting the sale, due to the reason that they were silent, as they accepted that they would not disgrace their relative, but if you say that the buyers were contesting the claim of the relatives, why were they silent? They should have said to Rabbi Akiva, we gave him money, and if our right to the property cannot be proven without disgracing him, let him be disgraced. If the Gemara rejects the argument. It is due to that reason that the claim, he should have said there is no conclusive argument. This is what Rabbi Akiva said to them. One reason to prohibit exhuming the body is that you are not permitted to disgrace him. And furthermore, if you should say he took the money, let him be disgraced. In any event, nothing can be proved by exhuming the body, as signs of decaying puberty are likely to change after death. Tashima, Shol Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish, Rabbi Yochanan, Zu sheshinui Mishnah bar kapara, Aharei shehaya oichel, Sadeu ba v'cheskas shelo, V'kora elav echad arar lomar sheli hi, V'tzi ze es ono lomar shemecharta li, B'matana im amar Eini makir b'shtar zebi olam yiskayim ashtar b'choismo. The Gemara suggests coming here proof. Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish asked Rabbi Yochanan about that which is taught in a Mishnah of Bar Kapara. There was one who was continually enjoying the profits from a field, and it was the presumption that it was his, and someone contested his claim, saying, it is mine, and that person who was profiting from the field produce a deed in order to say it's mine, as you sold this field to me, or it is mine, and you gave this field as a gift. If the one who presses claim said, I do not recognize that deed as one I've ever written, the deed must be ratified through its signatures. Okay. I might do part 2. Im Omar, if one protested, Im Omar shtar pasim huze, o shtar mana, shemachar dilav nasad lidamim, im yesh edim, halachach edim, im no halachach shtar. If the one who protested his claim said this is a document of appeasement, shtar pasim, a document written only so that the holder should appear wealthy, or a document of trust which means that I sold the field to you and provided you with the deed, trusting you to provide payment, and since you did not give me the money, the sale is void. Then, if there are witnesses, follow the testimony of the witnesses, and if not, follow the deed. Remeir he de Amar Mode Bishtar Shikasvo and Atzarach Likaimo. Lord Banan. Rishon ben Lakish concludes, according to your explanation, the rabbis maintain that even if the deed is ratified, the claimant cannot take possession of the property without bringing witnesses. If so, shall we say that this right is in accordance with the opinion of Remeir, who says that when there is a debtor who admits that he wrote a promissory note, the creditor is not required to ratify it in court in order to collect payment, and it is not in accordance with the opinion of the rabbis. Okay, we're in the middle of something. You know what? Oh, we have to do how to do our reading the Zohar if we do a part 2. Wow. You know what? I think we can do it. Amar le lo shani. Amar Omer Rea Kolmei de Bishar. Yochanan said too. No, it is not so. I say that everyone agrees in the case of a debtor who admits that he wrote a promissory note, the creditor is not required to ratify it in court in order to collect payment. Rabbi Shimon Lakish asked, but don't they disagree, as we learned in the Batra, with regard to witnesses who ratified their signatures but claimed that they were not fit to bear witness when they signed the deed? Their testimony is not deemed credible to invalidate the document. This is the statement of Rabbi Meir, and the rabbis say their testimony is deemed credible. Amar le I edim elimei mareshtara I hu kol kamine Amar le the halo mishimcha amru Yafe Aru B'nei Mishpacha Amar Le Zo Elazar Amram Ani Amarti Davar Ze Me'olam. Rabbi Yochanan said to Shimon Lakish, even if the testimony of witnesses is powerful, and they imply and they impair the validity of the deed, which they admit to have written, with regard to him, the giver, is it in his power to impair the validity of a deed that he admits to have written? Rabbi Shimon Lakish said to Rabbi Yochanan, but why wasn't it stated in your name with regard to the aforementioned incident in Bnei Brak? The members of his family contested the claim correctly, even though they admitted that the deed was authentic. This means that the claimant is required to ratify the deed. Rabbi Yochanan said to Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish, that statement was stated in my name by Rabbi Elazar, my disciple, but I never said that statement. We're getting close. I'm Reb Zera in Yachpor. Rabbi Yochanan Rabbi Elazar Yachpor, Rabbi Yanai Rabbi, Amar Rabbi Yanai, Amar Rabbi, Mod the Bishtar Shikasva in a Tzarach L'chaimoi, V'ile Rabbi Yochanan Rabbi Lo Mishnah Seinu, Hizo, Chachamim Oimrim Amoitzich Mechavero Alavaraya, Ein Raya Ela Kiyum Shtar. Rabbi Zera says, if Rabbi Yochanan denies the statement of Rabbi Lazar, his disciple, will Rabbi Yochanan also deny that which he said to Rabbi Yanai, his teacher? That this is, as Rabbi Yanai says, and Rabbi Yehuda Nasi says, when there is a debtor who admits that he wrote a promissory note, the creditor is not required to ratify it in court in order to collect the payment. And Rabbi Yochanan said to Rabbi Yanai, my teacher, is this not the case discussed in our Mishnah, which states to the contrary? And the rabbis say the burden of proof rests on the claimant. Rabbi Yochanan concludes that the proof mentioned in this Mishnah is nothing other than ratification of the deed. This indicates that Rabbi Yochanan maintains that, according to the opinion of the rabbis, the recipient is required to ratify the deed. If so, why does he state that everyone agrees that the recipient is not required to ratify the deed? Baram, is it Brahm? Yeah, Brahm. Baram, near Yosef. The Amar Rabbeinu Yosef, Amar Rav Yehuda, Amar Shmuel. Zo divrei chachamim, Amar Rabbi Meir, Amar Mod b'shtar shekasvu shetzarach l'chaimoi umay divrei hakol. But on the Rabbi Meir divrei hakol. Rabbi Zera explains, even indeed the statement of our teacher Rabbi Yosef appears to be correct, as our teacher Rabbi Yosef says that Rabbi Yehuda says that Shmuel says the opinions should be reversed. Then the bride is taught by Bar Kapara, according to which the deed does not require ratification, is the statement of the rabbis. Rabbi Meir says that when there is a debtor who admits that he wrote a promissory note, the creditor is not required to ratify it in court in order to collect payment. What is the meaning of Rabbi Yochanan's statement that everyone agrees that in this case the recipient is not required to ratify the deed? Rabbi Yochanan means that this is the statement of the rabbis, and a statement of the rabbis that is disputed only by Rabbi Meir is tantamount to a statement accepted by all. Okay, 2 more paragraphs. The Gemara asks, but did we learn the opposite in the Mishnah? The rabbis say that the proof rests upon the claimant. This means that the recipient is required to ratify the deed. The Gemara replies, reverse the opinions in the Mishnah. The Gemara asks, but isn't taught in Batra, with regard to witnesses who ratify their signatures but claims that they were not fit to bear witness, their testimony is not deemed credible to invalidate the document. This is the statement of Rabbi Meir, and rabbis say their testimony is deemed credible. This indicates that according to the rabbis, the document requires ratification. The Gemara answers here to reverse the opinions. And now to the very bottom line. V'had Rabbi Yochanan Raya Be'edim Kamar Efa Le'ima Lifuch Namit Yufta La. Rabbi Yehuda asks, but doesn't Rabbi Yochanan say with regard to the proof that the recipient is required to bring that the proof is presented by bringing witnesses who testify that the giver was healthy and not by ratifying the deed? The Gemara answers, reverse the opinions of Rabbi Yochanan and Rabbi Shimon Lakish. Rabbi Yochanan maintains that the recipient is required to prove his claim only by ratifying the deed, whereas Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish maintains that the recipient is required to bring a witness. The Gemara asks, shall we say that we should also reverse the objection that Rabbi Yochanan raised to Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish previously, and say that Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish raised the objection to Rabbi Meir? The Gemara answers no. That would be unnecessary.